I'm Christine from Pack Hacker. In this video, we're taking a look at the Gossamer Gear Clear Cube, which I've been testing for a month. Let's dive in. So Gossamer Gear calls this a TSA friendly bag, but I do have to point out they also say it is a 3-liter bag, which means it's technically too large for your liquids in a carry-on bag. You're only supposed to have a 1-quart bag, and so technically this makes it 3 times too large. However, in hand, it looks really similar to a quart-size Ziploc bag. It's maybe a little wider probably. And I do have to say, I carried it through TSA in my carry-on twice, there and back. Nobody said I had too many. Nobody made me pull it out. It went through. No guarantees, obviously. Your mileage will vary, but take that for what it's worth. We have a PIVA, which is polyethylene vinyl acetate on the front and back. That's what makes it clear. And then we've got Robic nylon going around the outside here. And inside we have a polyester isometric grid mesh. Basically a mesh dividers. I'll show you that more when I get inside. There is a nice little handle here. Just webbing strap. It makes it really easy to carry to and from the restroom or pull it out of a bag. You can even hang it up on a hook if you want. And then there's a couple of other loops here on either end of the YKK zipper. So it makes it easy. First of all, it's easy to open because we've got the cord and the heat shrink, so it makes it easy to open and close. But if you needed something to grab onto, you could do that. There's a little Gossamer Gear logo here just on a tab, and then that's all she wrote really for the outside of this bag. So if you are finding this video helpful, go ahead and take a moment, click like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you content like this to help you travel smarter. Now let's go inside. There's only one section in this bag. It's the main compartment. The zipper is nice and wide, and so you can open it up and you can see everything. Obviously, also you can see everything because it is clear on the outside. So it just gives you really nice access to all your gear. Now, I'm going to point out that this is really packed to the gills with my toiletries, and you can use it for tech too if you wanted, but I do have to point out that having it fully packed really well is the best way to use this bag. If you don't need to fill it all up, things don't stay as nicely in transit. I had things like falling over, and then it was sort of like, well, what was the point of the dividers anyways? But when I packed it for my 10-day trip, because I took this on a 10-day trip that involved 5 days at Walt Disney World and then 5 days on a cruise ship, it worked out great. Because first of all, you can obviously see everything that you have, and it stands up very nicely, as you can see, and it also doesn't take up a lot of counter space, which really comes into play. If you've ever been on a cruise ship, you know their bathrooms are tiny and the counters are even tinier, and so you have no space. And then even in Walt Disney World, you know, we have a lot more counter space, but then there was like a nice little ledge above the sink. I could get it off of the main counter space and just put it there, and it was really easy to use. So looking inside here, you'll see the divider is sort of this X-shaped and it's flexible, so it can like go, you know, back and forth and whatever, but it makes it so that like you put like longer things on, like I've got makeup and a makeup brush, and then I did stick my deodorant here as well. And then I used the toothbrush over here, over there, because it's just longer and it stays separate from everything. So I used sort of the front and the back for longer things, and then the middle for more bottles and makeup, you know, utensil like mascara, these little Cadence capsules. But you can see, like, so I take out one thing and only a couple things will fall over, as opposed to if this was all open and you took out one thing, a lot of things would fall over. So that's what I really liked about it, because it made it so easy to just sort of pop things back in and then have them stay where you wanted them to stay, as opposed to having to rummage or, you know, sort of repack it correctly every time you needed to move or close it. So I really liked that. So I have to say, like, if you're looking for something and you don't, you want something basically like you have a lot of bottles, but they're small and whatnot, or you have a lot of tech and you can really pack it out to make it organized like that. I really found it quite useful because you can pull one thing out and then just a few things shift and it's so much easier to put back in. It's easier to find what you need. I just found it a lot easier than I usually have, like a toiletry bag that's similar to this, but it's just an open dump space. So then I pull one thing out and everything just falls on top of it. So if you have enough to basically beef it out like that, it works out really great and doesn't take up a lot of counter space. If you don't have this much, if you have a much smaller carry, it might be overkill and then things might sort of shift around, fall anyways. But I did find it useful also as organization in a much larger bag. So it just helps keep everything sort of neat and tidy, and then you can find exactly what you need when you need it and keep it all together throughout your trip. So there you have it, the Gossamer Gear Clear Cube. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.